And a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good people of the tube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand, and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another Gig Stories video, everybody. So today's video is called I Saw Red, because that is basically very apt to what happened. So, not too much happened in this one. It wasn't as kind of like crazy, but as some of the others. Especially not as the next one I'm going to tell you after this one, which will be next month now. I'm going to try and do one every month. I think that's the way to do it. So this one was 2011. John Joe wasn't playing with us yet, so he missed this one. Lucky for him. And again, it's called I Saw Red because basically I acted in a way that, to be honest with you, I'm not particularly proud of. But it wasn't because I wanted to act that way. I was just pushed to my limits. So, I think it was kind of like, spring, summertime. And we had a manager at the time who was booking us plenty of gigs, but they were in some rare old places. And he booked us into a chav nightclub in the local town of Grimsby, which is half an hour up the road. I didn't know it was a chav club. I didn't realise that. I just thought it was another a gig place in Grimsby. I've heard bands play there. I'd heard of bands who had played there before, so I didn't think anything of it. And I think it was Joe actually who mentioned that's like a chav bar, and I was like, "Are you serious?" She goes, "Yeah, that's a chav bar," and I was immediately like, "Oh no." Anyway, it was booked, and I thought, you never know. They might have different nights, and I held out hope. Famous last words. I held out hope that it was going to be okay. So day of the gig rolls around. We drove there. It's kind of like in the town centre, and we walked in, and I was immediately like, "Oh God, we're gonna die." Dance music playing, full tilt. And I went up to the bar and I said, "Hi, with the band tonight." And they said, "Oh yeah, you're setting up just over there." The place was massive. I remember it being humongous. And I think we had to move the vehicles round the back of the pub. There was kind of two ways in. There was like one way in, like down this kind of like little back road that you could come in at. The public could come in, and they could come in the other end as well. So you can kind of get two different spaces. So anyway, met the guy, and he showed us where we were going to play. So we left the bar area. It was kind of like, bar area, tables, chairs, or usual thing. Huge bar, dance music pumping away. Chavs looking at us like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" We had long hair. Well, my brother didn't, but I had long hair. Kyle, the drummer at the time, he had long hair. And it was just a bit kind of like, "Oh God, this is not where we should be. This is really bad. This is not going to end well." And I was just like, "Let's just get it done. Let's just get it done." In all hindsight, I should have just left. But we were scheduled to play, so we played. So we followed the guy over to where we were going to play, and he walked us over to this dance floor area. And it had kind of like, the laminate wooden flooring. It's extraordinarily sticky under your feet. And the thing that got me the most was, on this area where we were playing, there was chairs stacked to the rafters, both sides. And stripper poles, which were also pretty gross to look at. You didn't want to you didn't want to touch them, let's just put it that way. But there were these, I remember there had been two. Was there three? No, there was two. There was only two. There was these stripper poles, basically, where, they did actually do stripper things. So I was a bit like, what the hell are we doing playing on basically a strip club stage? What are we doing? What are we doing? And anyway, he said, "You play in here," and I was like, "Okay." I wasn't panicking at this point at all, people of YouTube. I can show you. I was very steadfast. Anyway, loaded our stuff in, got it into place, and got sound checking and stuff like that. And literally, after sound check, you could just feel the atmosphere just change to one of anger, annoyance, and aggression towards us. You could just feel it. People hated us. They literally hated us. And a lot of people left, which I thought was a good thing at the time, because I couldn't kind of cope with the feeling. It was horrible. It was like really, really bad. Like just intense. Like, you know, everyone was looking at us like, you know, like they wanted to start on us. And I was totally convinced we were not going to get out there without a fight. So we sound checked, not good. And so we played our first set. We got going and we played our first set. No applause for any of the songs. I think the only applause came from Joe and Joe's friend. And even that kind of like was a bit stilted because it was like, you know, do we dare clap? And we were playing like, you don't really play your own material that no one's ever heard, and Jimi Hendrix and Rory Gallagher and Deep Purple to people who like dance music and like to go out on a Saturday night, which is when this was, and fight. A lot of these guys looked like they were just there to fight, and it was terrifying. Like, super unnerving. Anyway, we finished our first set, and I was just like, shall we just go? Shall we just leave? And Kyle wasn't feeling it. Brother wasn't feeling it. Joe and a friend was like, this isn't good. This is not going well. And we were just like, what do we do? You know, what do we actually do? Absolutely bricking it, people of the tube, to be perfectly honest with you. I was terrified of going back in and playing. I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was terrified. I wanted to leave. I wanted to go home. I just wanted to go home. Obviously, you can't do that. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to run as fast as I could. Anyway, we decided to stay, go back in and play our second set. Second song in, I want to say, of the second set, this group of women walked in. And they stood in front of me and just screamed at us constantly for about a minute or so of how rubbish we were. Big words, though. You're meh meh meh, you're meh meh meh, yeah. And it was starting to get to me. Because I was playing, you know, I was there, I was booked to do a job, and I'm there to do a job. You know, I'm not there to get abuse hurled at me, which is what was going on. I was getting a lot of abuse hurled at me. And this seemed to set it off. All the people that had kept quiet and just eviled us then started up as well. And you get people, yes, mate, get off. And it basically started it all off. This group of women came in and they were literally right in front of me. Literally where the camera is now is where they were. And they were just screaming obscenities at me. And they were just going at us. And then everyone started in. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't take this. I don't actually know what to do. And I was like, do we just stop? Do we just stop, or what do we do? I don't know what to do. I was literally like, what do I do? Hindsight, I should have just stopped and said, that's it, we're done. And just walked away. Just walked away. That's what should have been done. But we persevered, and the abuse kept coming. And bit by bit, I started to give it back. Not proud of it. I'm not proud of that at all. But I'd just about had enough. And so, you rubbish, mate, get off the stage. Like, yeah, do you want to come and do better? That kind of thing. I was getting angry. You know, I was getting really angry at everybody. Like, you know, come on, then, you do better. If you can do better, come over here and show me. Which no one ever did. No one ever does. You call their bluff on that one. And I was trying to kind of manage it. So someone like, you rubbish. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, think what you want. At least we're doing something, blah, blah, blah. We're not out to cause problems and have a fight and get locked up in the cells overnight. Anyway, it just kept coming and coming. From every direction, people coming in would slag us off. People in the bar area would slag us off. People looking at us like we're literally dirt on the bottom of their shoes. It was just like... And I remember this exact moment. I don't remember the song, but we were about to play my original song called Overcome. And during the song we played before that, it could have been Little Wing, I don't actually know. It was a quiet song, so it possibly was Little Wing. This guy walked in. and he walked past us, and he said something along the lines of, "This is the worst in band I've ever heard in my life," and just kept walking. And that was when it just went, the red mist descended, and I lost it. I totally lost it. And again, not proud of this, but I totally lost my rag, and I just screamed down the microphone at him, "Why don't you go on?" Literally, big words, lots of big words were flying about, and I just had enough. And I kept and like between the song, I was pointing at people, you're, no. And I was screaming, which is massively out of character to me. I'm not I hate confrontation. I hate arguments. I hate all that kind of thing. But I just snapped. And I was just like aware of what I was doing, but I had no control over it. And I remember Kyle and Johnny were just kind of like, you know, this isn't the best idea, Dave. You know, these people are ready to kill us. And I was like, no. And I was just like screaming and swearing at people down the microphone. I had the PA, so I was louder than they were, so you could hear me. Anyway, I saw that guy who walked in, and he was just looking at me like this, just dead staring me. So I dead stared him back, like he was over in that direction. I can see it in my head now, clear as day. And I just dead stared him back, and I introduced the next song, Overcome. I said this is all about being bullied and taking abuse from people you don't deserve it from, and I thought it was quite apt. And I didn't sing the song, more so scream the song, like full on scream, not in tune, not in any kind of tone or anything good. I just screamed down the microphone all the lyrics. Oh God, I wish it was recorded, you know. It would have been hysterical to watch back, but I screamed, literally ruining my throat. I didn't care. I did not care. I was out of my mind with anger, like just furious anger. You know, just absolutely going mental. And for the whole of Overcome, not only did I scream it, I stared at this guy, probably without blinking, for the whole 5 minutes of the song. For the whole 5 minutes, I dead stared this guy, and he dead stared me back, and it was just like this staring competition. And I just remember finishing a song and saying, "F you all. I hate all of you." Stuff like that. And it was just, again, I'm not proud of it. It wasn't big, it wasn't clever, it was pathetic, and I should have had the sight to see what we should have just left. We should have just gone. When the abuse started coming, we should have gone, "We're not putting up with this, we're leaving." And we should have gone after the first set. That's what we should have done. We should not have persevered. But again, it's kind of a good thing in a way, because it made me learn. You know, I've learned from that. I've learned that when things like that happen, it ain't worth it. Pack your stuff up, go home. You're never going to get anything good from that. So again, failure to learn. And again, I'm not proud of my behaviour one bit. Anyway, after every song, I just told everyone to... Every song, I was like, you know, to everybody, I didn't care. I hated everyone. Everyone. No one could calm me down. I couldn't calm myself down. I'm not really good at that anyway. I couldn't calm down. I was in a rage. And I was just like, I want to smash everybody over the head with my guitar. I was just absolutely fury. Pure kind of fury. I have never been... I don't think I've ever been that angry live again, and that's a good thing. Again, it's because I could see the signs more than anything afterwards. But I've never been that I've never been that angry on a live stage again, or before. I have never been that furious. I've been upset and I have been angry at certain things here and there, but I've never been to the point where I could literally start a fight. I was ready to start a fight. I was ready for somebody to come up to me, and I was ready to hit them round the head with my guitar and literally just wade into people. Which again, look at me, I won't last 5 seconds. But I didn't care. I just lost it. I had totally, well and truly lost it. I just remember people kept coming in, the abuse kept coming, I kept throwing it back, I was screaming. I screamed every song. I made it as uncomfortable as possible. I sent my guitar out of tune on purpose so it sounded even worse. I was messing about with things. I turned my amp up ridiculously loud. I turned the PA up so loud it was feeding back. I did everything I could to be antagonistic, which was stupid. But I was pushed to the limit. I pushed my breaking point and I just broke. I snapped. And again, what can you do at that point? You know, there's nothing you can do. You know, you lose total control, and I'm sure, like, you know, everyone's gonna be at that point at some point in their lives. I don't think you can go through life without reaching it at some point. And I was just screaming. I just remember screaming. That is the one thing I do remember most about that night, is me screaming. The songs, just screaming. We finished our second set anyway, and I just basically just went mental. Screaming down the microphone, saying like, you're all meh, 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 shouting the odds and this, that and the other, which again is not me. It was so yobby and it just isn't who I am. But it's mental how like you can get pushed to a limit and pushed to be something you're not. It's terrifying, the power that kind of people can have on you if you let them and react in a way that's like, you know, not what's the word? Productive, basically. Anyway, we finished. My God, I was in a rage. I remember going outside, headbutting the van, because I had so much anger in me. I had to do something, and I remember smashing my head into the van. I had a different van at the time. I had a Vauxhall Combo, and I just remember headbutting it a couple of times and punching it. Because I had nothing, I didn't know what to do. You know, I was either gonna punch the van, or I was gonna go in there and punch somebody else. And I was just like furious. Like, you know, the abuse had started during the first set. You know, sound check wasn't great. That's when everyone turned on us. The abuse started in the first set. It just got worse. I snapped, and couldn't calm down. And I remember like my brother trying to calm me down, Kyle trying to calm me down, Joe trying to calm me down, and I was like, I don't, just raging. And I remember going back in, packing all my stuff down. That's kind of a blur. And I said to my brother, I think you better go and sort out what's going on with getting paid, if we're getting paid or not. Because at this point in time, I don't want their money. And I actually refused payment. I don't think we got paid. I actually refused it because I was just like, I don't care. You know, I didn't come here to get abused. I came here to do my job, and you know, it was a miscalculation. But we didn't deserve the abuse. I don't think, you know, it was just wrong place, wrong time, and I don't think we deserved what we got. But you know, that's what you get when you're a toilet circuit band. You know, you expect that some people are going to want to start on you. I'll tell you another quick story in a minute as well. Anyway, just to add on to this one. But again, I'm not proud of this one, POTT. I'm not proud of my actions. I'm not proud of what I did or how I was. In all fairness, it was shameful. But again, there is a reason for it. I didn't just do it out of fun. I did it because I was just pushed to the limit. You know, when people are in front of you, literally like where this camera is to me now, hurling abuse at you and calling you everything under the sun, and then you got people over there screaming at you, and people over there screaming at you, and it's like da, 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 da. You can only take so much, I believe, and my limit was reached that night. Like I said, I've never reached that limit again on stage, and you know, touch wood, I never will again, because it was horrible. I just remember the feeling of not being able to calm down, like. It was so tough. Like I said, I just remember it was just horrific. And I remember my brother went in to talk to the guy. The guy was in a rage. You know, the guy who was running the pub, he was absolutely furious at me because of the way I acted. He didn't, you know, I think Johnny tried to argue the point, well, all your punters started this. You know, they didn't have to be that. They could have just kind of like, you know, just got on with it. You know, we weren't loud. We were out the way as well. You know, it was not like we were like in their faces. We weren't loud. We were out the way. And my brother kind of argued the point, like, you know, they started it. You know, you started antagonising us. You know, what do you expect us to do? Take it all night? You know, the guy was like, nah, whatever, and we just refused payment. And I remember us being in the van talking to Joe and punching the steering wheel. I like just unable to just bring myself down. I just couldn't do it. Like, and I was just like, this is, and in my head, every voice was going, this is terrifying for people, Dave. You need to rein this in. People do not want to see this, and you're not like this. This isn't you. Snap out of it. And I had all the voice of reason going on within me, but I just couldn't get it out. I couldn't get it through. I was just this raging monster fury, and it was terrifying. I didn't like it one bit. It just freaked me out, and I didn't like it, and I don't want to ever lose that control again. Like, it was just like, I'm convinced that if somebody had come up to me, I would have smashed them around the head with my guitar. No ifs, no buts. I would have hit them, and I would have hit them hard. It's as simple as that, because I was just like, I'm not trying to sound like, hey, look at me, big man. It would have been stupid. It would have been the worst thing in the world. But I'm positive, if somebody had come up to me at that point in time and said anything, got a bit too close or tried anything, I would have lost it, and I would have the guitar would have been going around their brain. It would have, because I just couldn't take it. With my history of abuse as well, it wasn't something that I was ready to just sit and take. And I wish I could have just gone, let's just go home. Let's just pack up, go home. We didn't get paid anyway, so not that it mattered. And I didn't care anyway about that. Money isn't. It's not why I do this. I need it to live, but it's not why I play music. Money is not an incentive to play music. I don't need an incentive to play music. I love playing music. But anyway, it was just crazy. I just remember people screaming at us, and I was screaming back as we left, and we just drove out and we left, and I just remember all the way home, and I don't think I slept that night. I was just rage. It was just complete loony, like loony Dave. It was terrifying. Anyway, I must have got to sleep at some point, because I remember waking up and I was still angry, and I came downstairs and I started cleaning my guitars from the night before and making sure I hadn't broken anything, because I had done some very stupid stuff, twisting machine heads and getting guitars out. I mean, I wasn't in tune for most of the second set because I just didn't care. I wanted it to sound bad. I wanted to not sing. I wanted it to be loud and horrible and harsh and nasty. I do remember at one point turning to Johnny and Kyle and saying, play louder. Like, play effing louder. Just crank it up. And I just turned the amp up super loud. God, it was atrocious. Again, bad behaviour on my part, that is. And, I hold my hands up on that one. That is just, that was childish and stupid. But again, pushed to my limits. But, it still doesn't give me an excuse to act that way. I should have just gone, let's just go home. I should have just got to, that's what everything in me was screaming to do, and I ignored it, and again, stupidity reigns supreme. People are due. But anyway, I thought it was over. And I got a phone call. So I answered the phone, and I was like, and there was this guy on the other end in a rage. Hey, Dave Simpson. I was like, yeah. Why, who are you? And he goes, I'm the guy who owns the club you played last night. And I was like, oh no. Why can't it just go away? And he was just like, I don't like your attitude. You're rubbish musicians. You're the worst player in the world. Blah, blah, blah. I'm never booking you back. Blah, blah, blah. You'll never play in Grimsby again. All this, giving it the big one down the phone. And and you're blacklisted. You're blacklisted in all my venues. And this guy happens to own quite a lot of the venues in Grimsby. And I remember ending the conversation to him down the phone. I just screamed at him something along the lines of, I don't want to ever play Grimsby again, and just put the phone down in a rage. And then I was away again. I was off again. Crazy Dave. And but luckily I managed to get a bit of a hold of it after about an hour or so. God, it just kept going, and apparently we're still blacklisted now. Apparently that's the thing. That's the thing in Grimsby. Apparently it never goes away. But there are certain venues after that in Grimsby we were never allowed to play ever again because my attitude was bad. Not the attitude of the punters who riled me up, The fact that, like, you know, there maybe should have been, like, you know, we should, the guy who was running the bar that night maybe should have said to us, look, forget it, lads, just go home. There was faults on all sides that night. No one came out of that innocent. No one. And it bothers me to this day, POTT, the way I acted. It really upsets me, to be perfectly honest with you, how I did act. And I wish I could go back in time and change that, but, you know, hindsight's a beautiful thing, and you can't do that kind of thing. But again, you know, it wasn't without reason. You know, I didn't just do it because I did it because, you know, I was defending us. You know, I was doing my best to stick up for us and do my best. It wasn't the right thing to do, and it wasn't the best thing to do, but I tried, you know, and it was wrong. What we should have just done is just walked out and left and done with it. But, you know, is what it is. But yeah, so that's that, POTT. So that's it for this gig story. The next one I've got planned is hysterical. Yeah, I can't wait to tell you the next one. The next one, luckily, doesn't involve Angry Dave, which is happy. But it does involve a lot of angry people. But anyway, yeah, I'll tell you about one next month. So until then, POTT, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's been a laugh. And again, like I say, it's just one of those things. It's just mental. Like the toilet circuit that, like, you know, pub bands have to play, and what we have to put up with is crazy sometimes. The abuse we get hurled at, you know, I've got some other stories again where we got stuff thrown at us and all sorts of other stuff. It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely mental. Again, not my proudest moment, but I wanted to say it anyway as a gig story. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this vid, POTT. So if you like the videos I do here, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Link to that is down there in the description box, as well as link to my music. My music is down there as well, my Bandcamp. Other than that, I will see you again for another video very soon. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching. See you again.